Okay, so here she is with her old wheels on, and as you can see, she's a pretty thing, but those wheels aren't really doing her any favours. So we'll just have a quick look around, and then in a minute I'll show you what she looks like with the new wheels on. And we are in a very beautiful part of the country here. I'll just take in a little bit of that view of the hills in the distance. And the only thing we can hear here is a distant hum of a light aircraft and bird song. Anyway, back to the car. As I say, there she is with her old wheels. I'll show you in a minute what she looks like with the new wheels. Let's get down to it. Right, well, if you're a regular watcher of my channel, you'll know that a few weeks ago I hinted at the fact that I got some new wheels for Foxanne. So now that she's back on the road and MOT'd and able to drive around, it's probably about time I got them out and fitted them. So yeah, so let's give that a go. Let's do the back ones first. Right, first of all, loosen these. Now she's already chopped, wheels are chopped on the other side, so I'm just going to jack her up enough to get the wheel off. Right, eagle-eyed amongst you will have noticed that the new wheels, even though they're the same size wheels as the old ones, they're actually fitted with smaller tyres. These wheels are from a Rover Mini Cooper, so they're fitted with the standard fitment for the Rover Mini Cooper, which is 145/70/12, whereas the standard fitment on the Fox, or the fitment that's on the Fox at the moment, is 155/80/12. So the 155/80s are a bigger diameter, so that's going to affect the speedo reading a little bit. So I need to find out what percentage of speedo optimism I'm going to get from the smaller wheels. So first thing I want to do before I change them is measure the circumference of the old and the new wheel to see what the difference is. Right, that one's about 708mm. That's the old one. And the new one's about 600, so it's quite a big difference. Again, as observant amongst you will have noticed that being an alloy wheel, it requires new nuts. So I've got the requisite kind of nuts here. Yes, another thing about new nuts is these nuts are 3/4 of an inch on the outside, whereas the old ones are only 11/16. So I also need to change my spanner for 3/4. Right. Is up to the required torque. Okay, so that's wheel number 1 done. Right, now let's move things around to the front and do wheel number 2, which is going to be the offside front. I'm not going to video doing the left-hand side because obviously it's just rinse and repeat. So I'll just video these two and see what they look like on. Right, okay, there's a problem here. Obviously the alloy wheel is a bit thicker. It seems to be okay on the rear, but on the front the nuts don't go on enough turns onto the studs to be safe. So we're going to have to stick with the steels until such time as I can get a set of longer studs. Longer studs are easy to come by, and I will need them. So I'm just going to do this for the look. So yeah, I'm going to drop it down off the jack just to have a look and see what it looks like. But then, because the alloy wheels being thicker, the nuts don't go on enough turns. They need to go on. You're supposed to have you're supposed to thread on the same distance as the cross-sectional, the diameter of the stud. So for a 3/8 stud, you should thread the nut on at least 3/8 of an inch, which would be 9 turns. It would be 9 threads on a 3/8 UNF stud. So I should be able to actually turn each nut around 9 turns before it tightens down onto the wheel. But those are only on about 3, so that's nowhere near enough. It'll be enough just to have a look, just to put the weight of the car on it, to have a look and see how it looks, but not enough to drive it. So yeah, so we can't complete that today because I'm going to have to get a new set of studs. That means sending off some studs, fitting them, and yeah, to find out how much longer they need to be. Yeah, so I'll just have to order some new studs. So for the time being, steel wheels are going back on, but we've got the circumference measurements checked between the two wheels, so we'll know what the speedo error is going to be. So for now, I'm going to drop it down on that wheel and just have a look and see what it looks like. Right, with all the stuff cleared out of the way, let's just have a look from different angles and see how she looks on new wheels. As I say, they're not staying on, they're going to come back off, and the steels are going to have to go back on for today. I was hoping that I would just do these two on camera and then swap the other two once I turn the camera off, and we'd be away. But no, but yeah, I think she looks pretty good on those. I mean, they may be a slightly smaller overall rolling diameter, but they do seem to fit quite nicely under the arches and look pretty good. Rear ones as well. But yeah, as I say, I'm going to get a set of longer studs. I'll probably get longer studs for the rear as well, just to be on the safe side, even though I'm pretty sure they did go on enough turns. But yeah, I think I'll get a set of longer studs all round. And yeah, well, that'll be another video in itself, won't it? Fitting longer wheel studs for the alloy wheels. So right, well, I was hoping to finish this video with a before and after, take it up to the spot where I did the before shots, but obviously that's not going to happen now. So yeah, just have to leave it there and say, yeah, they look great, they're definitely going on. It's just a matter of waiting for the longer studs to arrive, and then we'll have a video on how to change the wheel studs as well. Okay, bit of an update to that. It looks like I've solved my problem with the wheel nuts. Now the problem is, it's not that the studs are too short. What the problem is I've got the wrong nuts. I'll show you what I've got here. See, these are the wheel nuts. These are the wheel nuts I've got. They're supposed to be for alloy wheels on a Mini, but and they've got a 60-degree taper, which is correct, and it fits the taper perfectly. And yet they would work with longer studs. It's true, but changing the studs is quite a lot of hassle. And what I really need is the correct Rover Mini Cooper nuts. Now these nuts, as you can see, if I hold it against the black of the tyre, you'll be able to see the thread in these nuts actually starts a little bit further back from where the taper starts. So here you've got the tapered seat, and the thread starts inside the nut about another easily 3 millimeters back from that. So the thread actually starts up about where my fingernail is. So the nut has to be, so with the nut already seated in the wheel, the stud, yeah, the nut actually isn't already on the thread. Now the correct kind of nut has actually got a narrower. It's got a narrower piece that goes through. As you can see, these wheels have got quite large stud holes, and with the correct kind of nuts, the narrower section, I'll put a picture of it on the screen so you can see what the correct kind of nut looks like. The narrower section of the nut actually goes through the hole and threads onto the stud, and then the seat is actually a floating ring further up the nut. So the front of the stud actually extends about another 5 millimeters beyond where the seat is, so the thread starts a lot further in on the stud. So the upshot of that is, yeah, with the correct nuts, these wheels are fine, because these wheels are designed to go on standard studs on a standard Mini, and the hubs on this car are designed to use standard Mini wheels, because the hubs for the standard wheels for the Fox are the standard Mini 1275 GT or Cooper 12-inch wheels that they fitted in the late 70s. So yeah, so with these hubs on the Fox, the standard studs should be fine as long as I get the correct Rover Mini Cooper nuts. So I've ordered a set of Rover Mini Cooper nuts at the cost of £18, and now these ones, which cost me, I think these cost me about £14 for a set of 16. I don't know what to do with these now. I think I'll probably just keep them as keep them in case I come across another car with 3/8 UNF studs that needs these kind of nuts. But yeah, but they're not going on here anyway. I've ordered the correct set of studs, and then these wheels can go on. Okay, so with that sorted out, I've now been doing a little bit of calculation. I'll see if I can find my page here where I've done my calculations for the speedo error. So if I put those wheels on as they are with the 145 70/12 tyres, and they're actually very good tyres. They're Falcon tyres. They're about 5 years old, and they're in very nice condition. They've been, yeah, I don't think they've even been, they've been used. They've been fitted to a car, but they were taken off from the guy that sold it to me. It looks like they were taken off about 3 or 4 years ago. So they've actually only been outdoors in the sunlight for a couple of years, and since then they've been stored in a corner of his garage. So not getting much UV damage. And they do look, the rubber does look very fresh on them. So, so as I say, I want to use those tyres because they're in very good condition, and tyres cost quite a lot of money. Although ideally, I should have 155 80s on there, which are a larger rolling diameter. As I said, the 155 80s come to about 708 millimeters circumference, and the right. Okay, so what I've got written down here, I don't know whether you'll be able to see it on my scribbles, but yeah. So the original tyres with the 155 80s will do 1,412 revolutions in 1,000 meters. 1 kilometre, which is what I based it on. It's easier to work this out in metric because with miles, with feet, inches and yards, and 1,760 yards in a mile, it makes the whole thing rather complex. It's much easier to do metric. So yeah, the originals will turn 1,412 times in a kilometre, and the new slightly smaller ones will turn 1,667 times in a kilometre. Now I wanted to work out what the percentage difference is to see what percentage of overreading I will get on my speedo. So to calculate that, I worked out that there's 255 more turns on the smaller wheels. They'll turn 255, so I had to work out what 255 is as a percentage of 1,667, and it's actually 15.3, so I've rounded that down to 15. So basically, with the smaller tyres, my speedo will be 15% optimistic, which means at 30 miles an hour, it should be indicating 34.5. At 50, it should be indicating 57.5. At 60, it should be indicating 69. Now, the only slight drawback with that, and that's probably actually better gearing, because that car does seem a little bit tall geared. At 30 miles an hour, it doesn't really want to take top gear. It kind of rumbles a bit if you put it into top gear at 30 miles an hour. So with the slightly different gearing, it should mean that I can trundle around at 30 miles an hour in top gear, which is a little bit of an advantage. The disadvantage, the downside, is when I'm doing 60 miles per hour. At the moment, that's its comfortable cruising speed. Anything much over 60 miles an hour, and it feels like it's the engine's a little bit too busy. So of course, when I'm doing 60 miles an hour with the smaller tyres, my speedo will be indicating 69. So yeah, so it'll be hovering around the 70 mark basically. And I know from the way the car is at the moment, if you get it up to 70, it will do 70 just about. But if you get it up to 70, it really feels like it's screaming a bit. So obviously the revs are going to go with the indicated speed. But obviously there's going to be less wind resistance. So I will actually only be doing 60 miles an hour. So it could be that with the lower gearing, it may just pull it easier. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. What I'll do, I think, is once I get the correct wheel nuts, I'll fit the I'll fit the new wheels and yeah, take it out for a spin and see how it goes, see how it feels at a true 60 miles per hour. But in the long run, what I think I'm going to do is I will put the 155/80 12 tires on, which is the correct size. And then obviously the speedo will be correct, and it is actually very accurate. The speedo shows pretty much spot on 30 miles an hour. If you go to one of those radar speed traps where it shows your speed as you drive through, if my speedo is showing 30, then the radar speed trap shows up 30 miles per hour, your speed 30 miles per hour. So so at the moment it's pretty accurate. So this should be yeah, this should be a pretty fair estimate of what it will be displaying at those speeds with the smaller tires. So yeah, so when the correct nuts come, I'll do another video on putting the wheels on and show that they go on, well, hopefully that they go on correctly with the correct nuts, and we'll take it from there.